Georgia, 'cause I really love the way you love me, girl. Everywhere it goes. Y'all come on and sing it with me, y'all. You blow my mind, baby. I'm so wild with you, baby. Sing it, y'all. You blow my mind, baby. Just a little bit louder.
Dan, do you want to get started?
All right, everybody's here?
Yeah, let's get started.
All right. How many people now? I cannot see the numbers.
There are about 80 people now. I think we were going to come in a little bit later also, but I think for the game section, we can just get started. I think, well, as always, I think, yeah, people will come in soon.
Okay, then. Oh yeah, I can see other people here. Okay, let's get started. And yeah, first of all, welcome everybody to the Figma Meetup. This is the 5th one. And this is the first time when we do it online. And what do we like most about the meetups? We like t-shirt, stickers, free food, and we want to know something new and amazing people. And yes, we transferred all that experience from virtual world to from real world to the virtual. So you can, yeah, I see some of you guys now hang out on the Figma board. It's nice you exploring it by yourself now. But yeah, let me introduce you some of the zone. Yeah, let's start from the pages. At the pages, we have 4 different pages: check-in, hangout, resource, and feedback. First of all, just focus on the 2 first pages. First one is the check-in. It is for people to, to check in, to know where we are in the Singapore, even in this period of time. Yeah, and to know how close we to each other. And I can see right now people hang out in this zone. There's a lot of people close to myself. Yeah, this is my character. Yeah, and the second one, we have a hangout zone. In the hangout zone is a main stage where everybody just have fun, listen to the music, dance, eat food. Yeah, let me introduce you first, the characters. This is your avatars in this virtual world. You just create your own, follow the instruction on the left side. yeah, and follow the instruction of the bot and a pen bot and a pub bot. Yeah, they will help you out how to navigate in this on this board. Okay, yeah. First of all, we have group zone, group photo zone. So it's obvious. It's easy to understand, right? You guys later on, you can go there, take photo with us. Yeah. Next zone is a food court. We have a food table and we have a bar where you can grab your food and grab your drinks and go to the table and have a conversation as we usually have in a real world meetup. We the good thing about virtual meetup, we also have some interaction stuff, like we have a dance floor. Later on, I will introduce you DJ Man. He will play the music for all of you guys. Yeah, and we have a I would rather zone. This one is to know what you prefer more. Yeah, what you're up to. We have a before I die zone. Is this one is when you share your hopes and dreams with us to just share on the board. We have a zone for Zoom background. You can actually add your own background or you just download that people share. We have a main stage where speakers go there and share, and you can also have a rare photo with Jeline on the stage of Figma Meetup. And here you can scan this QR code and go to Pigeonhole to ask the question for the speaker later. Yeah, and we have a work from home gallery where you can add your own setups, place where you're working right now. It's good to see like how people work at this moment. Yeah, during this period, yeah, staying at home. And yeah, we have a drop your Twitter handle here. Yeah, you actually just drop your Twitter. We stay connected to each other. Yep. Okay, and then, yeah, I will show you how to create your avatar first. So you just duplicate this character by holding Alt and drag the character. Yeah, and you change, you can change the image right here. Okay, I will choose, for example, yeah, you hold command, click on this image and choose wherever image and you drag to this field. Yeah, and it will replace this image. You can also rename this, the name field. For example, I call it glass, or I call it invisible guy. You can actually, this one, you can change the message. Like for example, hello, I'm not invisible. No. Okay, and you also have this bar. This is your hand. You can use any emojis to, like you can holding, for example, you can go to the food court. You can grab some food right here. You can actually type on this one. You copy this pizza and paste in this one. And you can also switch your hands by using the alignment on the right side, right? You can turn right, you can hold it in the middle or left. You can also have a lot of stuff at once. Yay, we guy. Hi. Hey, where are you running at? No. You just double click on this food, double click on this text, Kai. You double click on this one and you paste in right here. Okay. you want the fries? Okay, I give you fries. Yeah. So let's see what everybody do now. Yeah, this is it. You just hang out, guys. I see, yeah, a lot of people on this board. It's 42 people. Let's see in the other links how it is. Okay. Yeah, and yes, if you go to the link and you see that you cannot change anything on the board, so it might be the Figma board is hit the limits. So yeah, that's why you cannot edit. Then you just go to any other links. It's like, any other server, and yeah, and hang out there. Okay, all right. Yeah, let's get it started. I turn on music.
Listen here, y'all. How many of y'all feel all right now?
Wow.
Like Kansas City. I said, how many of y'all feel all right now? Well, if you do, I want everybody in the building tonight to put your hands together first. Let's jam this mother. And rock from side to side like the old gammers do. Come on, y'all. Say it. Said I feel all right. 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 Everybody say yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Come on, and that's it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. You got it by yourself 3 times and now say yeah. Just a little louder, please. Woo, yeah, sing again. Everybody say yeah. Sa-dum-dum-dum-dum-dum-dum-dum. Yeah. Sa-dum-dum.
Tim, can you tell us what interesting thing you see on the game board?
Oh man, I was muted. Damn. Okay. Yeah, guys, you don't have to drag your character everywhere. You can, you can have a multiple version of yourself on this board. You can copy and drop everywhere, anywhere you want. Yeah. Oh, Brian, how you make this color? It's so nice. Oh, this guy is unique, Nice one. Okay, let's go see what people would rather. Oh, I see mostly people prefer naming for color. Wow, Zeppelin rather than Envision. Okay, let's see on the other boards what people doing there. So I dropped myself on the other board. Yay. Wow, nice avatar, Stay. Almost healthy food. Have a nice day. Okay, let's take a look at, oh, this something happened on the dance floor right now. Yay. Let's drink, everybody. Yeah, let's drink. I hope you guys have a drink right now. Are you turning on your webcam? Let me see your faces. Okay, that's. Okay, everybody push their hands up. Wow, Jeline, nice move. How it go? It's breakdance? Sounding like this? Okay, I will do, you know, the twist on my head right now. Wow, the link to everybody like hanging out at the dance floor right now. Yeah, make some fire. Let's see. Wow, on the third link, people also like, wow, yeah, right now. It's so nice seeing this cursor moving around, you know, it's amazing. Yeah, that's what the Figma about, right? This is, you know, collaborations. Wow. First thing, wow, man. Sergey, how you did it? How you make this, you know?
Just some additional.
Like, oh, nice. It's like a motion blur. Oh, white monkey. People just jumping on the trees. Hey, have you seen this you know, lonely palm? Hey, just yeah, guys, let's visit this lonely palm and give this lonely palm some wishes. Yeah, don't leave him alone.
To get high and move on up to a deluxe apartment. Well, the higher we go, the taller we grow. We lose sight of the land below, where you can have your place up in outer space. 'Cause my home is where my food is grown. I'm going back to the earth. I'm going back to the earth. I'm going back to earth. At the bottom of the ocean, now we're swinging from the tops of the trees. We are animals. We are wild. And truly be.
Oh wow, something happened in the chat right now, right?
I'm going back to the earth. I'm going back to the earth. I'm going back to work. I'm going back to the earth.
Okay, I think we'll get started on the talk in 2 minutes. So if you guys haven't already, drop yourself in the I would rather zone, write something onto our Before I Die board at your Zoom background, or just download one. A tip, there is a plugin called Hidden Kitten on Figma, and I've been using it to prank a lot of my stakeholders. So you can add that to your Zoom background as well. We'll get started shortly.
Oh, I don't see people uploading the Zoom background. Yeah, let's fill it up the Before I Die wall. Yeah, let's fill it up with some, wishes. Okay, what I want to before I die. Before I die, I want to go to Figma Meetup. Oh, that's true. Yeah, before I die, get out of house.
Hey, just for anyone who entered the board a little bit later and the Zoom a little bit later, just go and check our links. There's link 1, 2, and 3. If you find that you cannot edit anything on any of the links, go to another board because that board is probably full. And let us know if you can't get in. We'll make another board because Figma is infinite and everything is free on the internet.
Okay, with that, I think we can start. Okay. Okay. I hope everyone had a lot of fun already in the hangout, in the playground. Thanks, Jen, for all your hard work for that. It was so much fun already. I really enjoyed it already.
Thank you, guys. I hope you guys have fun on this. Yeah. Thank you, Shane.
Yeah. No, thank you, Tian. Like, awesome. Great way to start the weekend, I'd say. Anyway, today, so Tian has helped us out today. So I would like to introduce you to all the other members of Figma Meetup today. So besides myself, we have Zoe. Zoe, can you say hi?
Hello. Hello.
We have Pam.
Hey.
And of course, we have Tian. Hey, Tian. Okay. So yeah, this is Figma Meetup Singapore, and we're here to provide you a great time today. So we have great speakers today as well. We have Sergey, all the way dialing in from Moscow, from ManyChat. We have Adela and Jeline.
Hey.
From PALO IT, and we have Tina from Rakuten Viki. And we also have Felix, who will be our guest speaker later on. So our agenda for today is the following. We have a talk by Sergey about remote communication on company internal communication and team level. We have Adela and Jeline talking about building your remote design muscle. And Tina will walk us through how to get started with remote user research. After that, we'll have a small session by Felix and Pam about worldwide and local mentorship. And then we'll conclude with our Q&A. So before we go into the talks, I would like to thank our sponsors for today. So we'd like to thank Rakuten Viki for providing the Zoom link. And we would like to give thanks to Pigeonhole, who will be providing us the Q&A service. So for Q&A, we have this link here. You can go to pigeonhole.app/Figma5WFH, or you can scan the QR code. If you have questions for any of the speakers specifically, please add their names to the question. And yeah, we'll hope to see a lot of questions. Okay, let's move on to the first speaker, Sergey.
Hey guys, nice to meet you. Yeah, first of all, do you hear me well, or Yeah, everything's
Yeah.
awesome. So just a second. Yeah, just let me share the screen and yeah. So do you see it? Everything's great. Awesome. So as you already know, my name is Sergey Andronov, and my main topic today will be remote work on different levels. But I think at the beginning, it will be useful to tell you just a couple of words about myself, just to introduce myself. So in fact, this is my second talk on Figma Meetup, because the previous one was about a year ago when I was co-organizer of offline Figma Meetup in Moscow, which we made when Jeline came to Russia. Jeline, who is CEO and co-founder of Figma, and I still don't know why, but next day he posted like a lot of pictures with my slides into his Twitter account. So yeah, appreciate it a lot, but I still don't know why. But what about me personally? So yeah, that's me about 20 years ago. So as you can see, I was pretty thin, and I was extremely happy to spend as much hours in front of my computer as I can, not only playing games, but also drawing some random stuff in Paint editor. Maybe some of you still remember this app. Yeah. And if you would ask me, when did you start to do design? I have specific dates for it. So 29th April 2003, back in the days, I launched my first website. So that you can see on the screen right now. And the funny thing that is that it's absolutely outdated for sure, but it's still online. So you can go here if you want somehow, I don't know why, but anyway, you can go and just check it out. So it was kind of the beginning point. And long story short, after about 17 years or even more than 17 years right now, I worked on different projects in different agencies with extremely awesome people all over the world, and made some projects and was lucky enough to get some awards that you can see on the screen right now, like some Side of the Days, some Conline shortlist. But there is one award that I'm most proud of, which is Grand-Prix Red Dots, and it was only 5 of them globally when I won one, and I don't know, I feel like extremely blessed and appreciate it a lot. And I'm also judged at the FWAE for about 5 years now, which is kind of one of the oldest awards, digital awards in the world right now. But at some points I just felt and I understand that I want to bring more value to brands, to companies in the long term. And I decided to switch from agency side to the client side. And I moved directly to the company. So right now I'm a brand design lead at a company which calls ManyChat. So ManyChat is a chat marketing platform which helps businesses grow by building meaningful relationships with their customers via such communication channels as chat messengers, SMS, email, and so on and so forth. And we're not helping only huge brands. Our main focus is to help small businesses by giving them a tool to make all this kind of marketing stuff without any codes and without any engineering skills. So basically, as you can see here, you can just put some functional blocks on a canvas, just fill them in the way that you want, connect them in the way that you need, and basically that's it. Your automation is ready. But yeah, I think that's pretty enough to the intro part, and just let's move on to the main topic. And I would like to talk about these 3 levels of remote work and remote communication: as company level, internal community level, and the team level. And today I'm not going to talk about, all these pretty well-known frameworks like processes, approaches that you can find all over the internet, but I want to share my personal experience of using those processes inside ManyChat. So let's go to the first level, which is company level. And every company is a machine which consists of different parts. And so basically these parts are teams. And it's pretty easy to be connected and synced when you are located in the one physical place, and when you have a chance to just have a chat next to the water cooler, or just saying hi to each other at office every single day. But right now, during all this lockdown situation, we're spread out a lot, and it became much harder to be synced and connected all the time. And of course, every company should have their own processes that works for them well to be synced and connected. And I just want to share with you a couple of processes that we have in ManyChat that you can see on the screen right now in my screenshot of my schedule. So first one is sprint review, and the second one is weekly pulse. So yeah, let me go through each of them and give you some, more details and description. So first one is a remote sprint review. I think that most of you have the same sprint review process in your routine, but I think in different companies for different teams, it looks different, and I just share how it looks in our case. So basically, this is the whole structure of our sprint review schedule, I would say. But let's go through each stage and see how it looks in details. So first one, we just, at the beginning, we spend about 2 minutes just to gathering and join to one Zoom room. So it's pretty funny to see more than 70 people in one Zoom room, but anyway, it still works. After our product owner, who can be CEO or CTO, depending on the meeting, gives us an kind of overall review of what happens for previous 2 weeks, because we have 2-week sprints. And this stage gives you a kind of bird's eye view of what happens, of what's going on. So it's very, very non-detailed, but anyway, it's kind of the whole picture. After we go deeper, and we go to the stage of our product backlog items preview. So on this stage, every team has about 3 to 4 minutes to present their own results. And we don't use any presentation or any keynotes or something. We show just only ready-made software in production. This helps us a lot to save the time and go directly to the core value. So on this stage, you can get a more deep understanding of details in different parts of the product, but at the same time, you don't have to spend a lot of time to go extremely in all details. And on this next stage, which calls Bazaar, we choose up to 3 PBIs that we are interested the most. So basically, we have a table in Notion with numbers, teams, and PBI descriptions, which is blurred here. And in this stage, you have 3 time blocks of 8 minutes each, and you can choose up to 3 PBIs. And as you can see here, you can just put the number of PBI that you're interested the most in front of your name in Zoom call, and moderator just join you to specific Zoom room where you can just listen more details from the team, just ask some questions, give a feedback, or whatever you want, just to talk about the new feature or the new process with the team that made this PBI. So it gives you more detailed view of what's going on in specific parts of the project, because sometimes you cannot be everywhere and know everything. But on this stage, you can go deeper if you are needed. And after we just get back to general room where we discuss the feedback, sharing some thoughts. And for us, this process works extremely great, specifically in this remote time, because you don't have to spend a lot of time, but at the same time, you can go on this meeting and just get the last information, the last use from different levels of detailization, I would say. The second thing that I want to cover here is our weekly pulse. And weekly pulse is less official way, I would say, to be synced and connected, not only in terms of product, but also in terms of mental health, culture, and so on and so forth. And before every weekly pulse, anyone can ask any question that he wants, but For example, if this question is too sensitive, for example, he can do this anonymously using this form that you can see on the screen right now. And I've translated what's written here in Russian, in English. So basically you can just tell what you're worried about and give any proposal or solution, and be sure that leadership board will give you an answer or like some details about what you want to know. And these two things I think is very, very important specifically right now, because I think it's very important on the to make a safe space on a company level to be synced and connected. The next, the next level is internal community level. Yeah, so the second level. And previously I used to work in different companies with pretty standard structure when we have design departments which communicates with other departments. And you know, all designers are in the same, usually even in the same space, in the same place, and they're like the one whole team, and you are the lead of this team. So it's pretty clear. But when I moved to ManyChat, I saw absolutely another approach, and we don't have any departments. We have cross-functional teams which consist of designers, front-end, back-end engineers, product managers, scrum master, and so on and so forth. And most of their time, designers spend with non-designers. But you know, sometimes it's very important to be, you know, to just have a chat about some design stuff, about some design use updates, like what fonts do you use or something, to be connected with community, with design community. And every week we have, let me talk about it a little bit later, but I want to cover just two things here. First thing is design community health template, and the second one is our remote design review process. So every week we have a meeting. So basically right now it's a call, but anyway, we have a call where we can join in just all the design community, all designers from different teams, and just talk about like new updates in design system, or you know, some problems that we have, or any random stuff in terms of design. But during this lockdown thing, we started to use this design community health template at the beginning of every call. And this is why. Let me tell you just a little bit more about it. So basically it consists of 4 frames. So first frame is basically the question, how was your last week working remotely? And you can give it a score here from 0 to 10. And it's very simple and very quick, easy way to see the whole picture of what's going on inside the community. Because when you see that, for example, someone struggled a lot, so you can just, you know, have a chat with him and trying to help. And yeah, basically it's pretty interesting to see your own dynamics after, for right now, I mean, about like 10 years already, 10 weeks already or something. So you can just get back and see your own like progress, how your mental health was changing during this like 2.5 months. The next frame is what was good. And basically this is the frame where we collect all the happy things, absolutely randomly happy things that made you happy. And it's sometimes pretty, you know, it's pretty interesting and to see like what made people happy, because sometimes you're just very, you know, just look at some specific your own information field, but people can bring it some new things into it. The next frame is what was not so good. So basically here we collect all the problems that we have. And the final frame, here we collect all the solutions or proposals that we think relevant here and we want to try. And it's very simple, and you know, it's very great icebreaker, especially right now during all these remote work days. And I highly recommend you to try this with your community. And if you wanna, I have a link here. I think we can duplicate it later in the chat, but let me just open it quickly. And yeah, here you can just feel your own state. You know, you can reflect of how you feel, because sometimes you have to spend like a little bit of time to think about, yeah, okay, let's just stop let's make a pause and think how I really how I really feel like right now. So you can just think about it and feel it if you want, but I highly recommend it to do this specifically in this file, like all together, to see how different people is feeling during all this lockdown thing. Oh, just yep, get back to the presentation. And the final thing on this level is remote design review. So basically, we had this process even before this lockdown thing. And this is why. So we have 14 designers right now, but we don't have any, you know, kind of design director or head of design or someone like this. And of course, in this case, you have to be ready to use some process to make group decisions. And in our case, it looks like this. When you have like your new proposal or like new solution that you wanna discuss, you make a post in design review Slack channel. And this post consists of three blocks. So first one is description of the problem. The second one is description of the solution. And the third one is linked to layouts. And after, in comments to this thread, to this post, you write just one word, jury. And after this, Slack bot choose just two random people from design community to ask them to make, you know, some, to give a feedback, to challenge the idea, and so on and so forth. And of course, anyone can join the conversation and give their own thoughts and feedback. But for those two people who was chosen by bot, it's kind of a task that they want to solve in 2 hours. So this process gives us, it's very great to be connected in terms of design all the time, because when you work on like one specific part of the product, you can't see, sometimes you don't have time to be everywhere. Yeah. And this process gives you a chance to see the all highlighted what happens in terms of designing different parts of the project, of the product. So yeah, basically for us, it works extremely awesome. And the final level here is remote team level. So as I mentioned before, when I moved to ManyChat, I faced with, you know, absolutely new structure for me. And I thought, is it even possible to build a brand design team, which was a new direction for the company, without any, you know, without hiring anyone new, without, you know, like growing the amount of people inside a company. And I decided to try this virtual workforce approach, when basically you build a team which consists of people who can even not see, haven't seen each other before, but when you just join them in one team and direct them specifically in one point, they can produce extremely awesome results. But here I just wanna, because we don't have too much time here, but I wanna cover just one small thing, and it's morning syncs. So it sounds very, you know, very simple and basic, but when you work with people remotely as a lead, as a leader, as a, I don't know, art director or something, you have to be informed in status, in the progress, like what problems do we have, what we have done, and so on and so forth. But sometimes I see that some leads make a, you know, some kind of mistake, because they're trying to ask about like almost final result every single day. So, you know, every single morning for designers looks like, show me what you got, like show me the result that you made. But, and I see that designers like struggling a lot about this thing, because sometimes you have spent like more than just one day to make something extremely great and awesome. And sometimes you have like spent like 3 or 4 or even more days. But in our case, in my case, I'm not asking people to show me the final results, but I ask them every single day what they are going to do next 24 hours. And while they while they think on the answer, they estimated their resources. They think about other tasks that they have. They think about the problems and questions that they want to ask me. And it gives me all the information that I need about the status, about the progress, about the problems. but at the same time, I'm not push designers every single day without reason. You know, I'm just trying to play safe here, because right now it's very struggling time, and get a feedback without pushing, but trying to help designers. So it's very small thing, but I think very useful to just you know, asking not only about the results, but about how you are going to solve this, or how you are going to spend next 24 hours. So yeah, this is pretty much it. So this is everything that I want to share with you. I will be extremely happy to hear all the questions that you have and go deeper in some parts of my topic. But I think right now it's very important, specifically for design leads or some people managers, to create a safe space for your teams, because right now, like, all people in your team are absolutely, I almost sure that anyone feel, you know, a little bit like non-standard struggling thing inside. And I think it's very important to make a safe space to discuss, to talk about it, to be connected. And I hope that some small things from this talk that I covered will help you somehow, maybe give you just a taste how it works in different companies. In our case, maybe some of these things will be relevant for you. Some maybe you can tweak and adjust some things for your team personally. So yeah, that's it. Thank you very much for listening, and I will be happy to answer all your questions right now, or even before. Maybe guys, you can help with the schedule.
Yo, thanks, Sergey. Thanks. It was very insightful, your talk. I think you shared great tips, and I think it's very good of you to highlight that we really need to take care of everyone on our team. Fully agree with that. Okay, now for our next talk, we have Adela and Jeline from PALO IT, who will be talking about how to build your remote design muscle. Please go ahead.
I love the virtual clip. Sounded really real. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
All good? Okay. So hi everyone, my name is Jeline, and I am a senior UX designer in PALO IT. So I've been in this industry for about 8 years, mainly focusing on the visual design space. And today I'm really, really excited to be co-speaking with one of our lead designer, Adela.
Hey everyone, I'm Adela Ordonez, and I'm a lead designer at PALO IT. I recently relocated to Singapore. Before Singapore, I was based in Berlin, where I was working as a service designer and doing a little bit of strategic design and working in finance and mobility.
So we are from PALO IT. So it's a international, sorry, my baby is like shouting behind. International software development consultancy with a really strong focus on innovation. So we use this user-centered design thinking, agile, DevOps to help our clients. And we kind of work across like different type of clients, like from banks, governments to insurance, and many, many more. So globally, we have about 350 consultants. Locally, about 140 consultants, ranging from UX researcher, designers, developers, Scrum Masters, Agile coach, and many, many more. And of course, with all the different groups, we work as a fully integrated team from the tech, strategy, and design running all together. And we kind of organize ourselves like hives or tribes based on our different skill sets. So we are from this beautiful team, a very, very talented team called the Design and Strategy Hive. So it comprises of different designers with different backgrounds, from designers who specializes in research, visual designs, and designers who can do from end to end. So today's topic is about building your remote design muscles. So let's get to it. So we all know that during this whole working from home period, a lot has changed. For example, We have to establish daily catch-ups with our clients, with our teammates, to make sure that everyone is in sync and they know what's going on, and also kind of to encourage the whole human interaction virtually. We also do remote testing. So remote testing is something, it's a step that require us to do in the whole UX process. And now doing it remotely, we can't even test with our users face to face. How do we do it remotely? We have to do it via Google Hangout or Zooms. So it also internally handoffs and documentation changes. Feedback loops happen almost at a daily basis. And also kind of it triggers our whole design behavior. So how do we collaborate with our teammates? How do we do a design review remotely? So, and to be honest, Figma actually plays a really big part in this whole working from home experience. And we actually gathered, before this talk, we actually gathered a few insights from our teammates, and we shortlisted 5 lessons learned from this experience, and we want to share it with you. And we actually personally tried it on our own project, and it works for us. So we want to share it with you. Okay, so let's begin. The first item is set up working agreements. So essentially, working agreements are guidelines that define how groups want to work together. So imagine in this situation, you can't see your colleagues, you can't see your manager, and you're tasked to actually work on a new project with a new teammate that you have not worked before. So what is his working behavior like? What is his design style like? You don't know. So a good way to actually do is to set up working agreement with your partner. And from there, it kind of acts as a checklist for you to work together. So here are some, a few checklists that I personally tried on my project, and it works for me. First is to discuss and agree on a naming convention. So we are now not physically with our teammates, so we can't, just tap on their shoulder and say, hey, let's, where do I find this file? So align with them and say, okay, so this is how we want to name, how we should name our layers, how we should name our files. So it's easier for you guys to actually find certain files or certain pages when you work remotely. The next is to align with each other to always convert a symbol to a reusable element. So there are times where you are in a rush, you're rushing out for design, and you just forgot to convert maybe a symbol to a component. And when it reaches to your partner, and then he or she has to create a new component or has to duplicate the same component that you created. So just reminding each other to convert to a symbol helps you to kind of have alignment to your design system. And of course, once you convert to a symbol, make sure that you don't detach any component. So there are times where I was in project and this component just doesn't work for me. So I would tend to kind of like detach the component and create something new. So that kind of creates inconsistency if your partner use it for the other screens. The last one is assign one person to take care of the design system. So instead of both of you adding components into the design system, why not just assign one person to add on to the design system? So he or she would be the only one that knows, okay, what are the components in there, and you can take turns to see, okay, so I'm done with the component, you can actually take over and manage this design system. So it seems like a lot of work in communication at the beginning, but essentially if you look at the whole and the long run, it saves a lot of time and it creates a lot of alignment between the two of you. And after this whole circuit breaker, when you see each other, it kind of saves your friendship, because your colleague know that, okay, you are someone who's really organized and it's really nice to work with you. And it makes the whole collaboration really, really meaningful. The second lesson is amp up your design critique session. So before remote working, design reviews are done face-to-face through, let's say, big TV screens or big projector. And the experience is always very good because, you know, you have big screens and the resolution is really, really good. But when we get into remote working, the only way to share our designs is through Google Hangout or Zoom via the share screen option. And sometimes it really depends on the other party's internet connectivity or maybe the screen resolution. So it might turn out good or might turn out bad. So for example, you know, if we present in Google Hangout or Zoom, the quality might be slightly pixelated or slightly blurry or maybe slightly laggy. And it kind of, imagine you spend tons of time, like 2 hours or 3 hours doing your design, and in the end when you show it to your client and your client was like, oh, okay, actually things are quite blurred, it's quite laggy on my side, like how do we do? So we actually discovered this option in Figma called the observe mode, where you can actually direct your client to Figma to see how you present. So how do you do that is to click on the preview mode, and you can actually see there's a top right corner some avatars. So get your clients to actually click on your name or your photo, and from there, when you navigate on your end, it actually reflects on your client's end as well. And also 2 more tips before you do any presentation is to make sure to set the share link to anyone with the link and test it in incognito mode prior to your meeting to make sure there's no technical issue or people have to sign in. So this tips actually gives your design a lot of love, and it justifies the work that you have done. And you can also use this function for user testing. Send this link to your users and get them to interact. And from there, you can observe them and see how they actually interact with your design. The third one is making it fun and easy to navigate using emojis. So if you're a OCD designer like me or your colleagues, you can choose on the reaction and give a thumbs up. Or if you or your colleagues' files are always untidy, you have like layers 1, layer 2, layer 3. So also give a thumbs up. What you can do is try using emojis or cover page for your project. So from turning into this on the left to something on the right, it actually helps your teammate find the right project and also help you stay organized. So what you can do is usually create a artboard and include things like project title, description, status, and owner. So, and then right click, set as thumbnail. And eventually once you do this steps, it will change your thumbnail into a cover page. So it will actually reflect on your dashboard, and you will actually see your project at a glance. Okay, what are the status? What is this project about? And who owns this project? So one tip that I usually do as well is to create on a project file, I create like my own dashboard. So my dashboard includes the main cover page, and then followed by the cover page of the different pages. So instead of going into the individual files to see the status, I actually duplicate it on the dashboard. I call it dashboard, and you can see on a glance what are the status for all the page rather than going into the individual page. Also, besides setting up your whole cover page, also invest a bit of time before your project starts, because the whole cleaning up of your files is really, really important. You don't want to do it at the last. You want to set a good base at the start of the project. So a few checklists that I follow is make sure you set a file cover page, a content cover page, set up your styles, establish the naming convention with your partner, and make sure you have the habit of renaming your file as often as possible, because it helps with prototyping. So if you actually tried prototyping on Figma, using the Smart Animate option, if the layers are on the same naming and you wanted a different kind of animation, it actually jumps. So make sure you change your file name as often as you can. What you can also do is to use emojis to kind of identify the status of each page, and also make handover and clarification more seamlessly. So for example, this is a structure that I came up with. When I actually speak to my developers, I will get them to only get the screens from the development ready page, because these are the designs that are finalized with our clients, and user stories are all done, so they can go in and grab the design rather than going through the different pages. Another tip I like to do is to actually include page title for each page, a really large one. So at a glance, I can see what are the pages I have the page name for each of the frame. Yeah, so eventually it helps you stay organized, and it kind of cultivates a whole very good habit when, even though we are out of the whole remote working, so offline or online, you can still do it. And your teammate will love you very, very much when they actually see your file like this. So the fourth one, I will pass it on to Adela.
Yeah, so I'm going to talk a little bit about design branching to diverge and converge. Keep in mind that it's a working title, but we're calling it branching because it reminds us a little bit of how we see our developers work, that they kind of branch out and come back. So you know the typical design process, that is very straightforward, everything works. Well, not really. In reality, you know that it's actually an iteration. You need to constantly go back to the drawing board. You need to constantly try out new things, try them out with your actual users or with your clients. And it's an iterative process. It's a lot of back and forth until you get to that sweet spot. One of the other things that Figma does really, really well that we really like is the multiplayer mode. So it's the first time that we get the chance to have multiple designers all coming into one design file. And that's great. But at the same time, it adds a lot of complexity. So adding to that, even extra, is the layer of remote work, right? So every team is a little bit different. Every team has different ways of working, different work styles. There's new workflows if there's people you've never worked with. And there's also the extra layer of syncing. And remotely, like Jeline mentioned, syncing is even a bigger deal, right? So naturally, that creates a lot of complexity. So one thing that we've been trying out recently in projects, and that has worked out very well, is to create sandboxes or create spaces where you can branch out. So how does that look like in practice? So if you see, as Jeline mentioned, we really like emojis at PALO. And the way we set these up is, if you see, for example, we have like the main documents, we have the prototypes, we have the user journeys, and these are kind of like the single source of truth, where the client can see what is the latest state of the designs, where we can actually test prototypes out with users. And then we create sandboxes. So these different spaces where we have specific features that we feel need a little bit more work, or that we need more options, or we need to put a little bit more thought into it. So basically we set up these sandboxes and these spaces, and each designer can come in, do their thing. So for example, you have a really tough dashboard that you feel needs a lot more time, so you can kind of just hand it over to somebody in the design team. They can do their magic, do their thing. Or this also is really good for specific features that you need to revisit, or that did not perform that well in the user testing and you want to give another try to. So you basically take it there, you use that space to explore, to find different options. And once you're happy with something, you bring back in the input of the team. So for us, it's really important to have critique sessions and constant feedback and iteration. And the sandbox is a really good place for you to do that in a safe space without the client yet. So that means that we bring it back, we kind of review it internally as a team. We usually vote on one option or two options that we feel really strongly about, and only the ones that make it go to the single source of truth. So in a lot of ways, it's a lot less confusing for clients, because then they don't need to see 4 or 5 different options of the same feature, but they see one. And that makes it easier also for them to make decisions. Another thing that has been really helpful for us is the fact that, for example, if you go for a dashboard that you really like, but it turns out it's having a lot of issues in the user testing, you can go back to your sandbox and pick out backup options. So all of the work that you did doesn't go to waste, and you can kind of pick it back up as much as you needed during the project. But the most important thing here is that at the end of the day, you're one team voice, which is the most important thing. And the last tip we're going to present today is not just using Figma as a design tool, but also as a co-creation tool. So this has been, it's a little bit similar to tip number 3 or number 2 about the observer mode, but we call it using it as a co-creation tool to get the design just right. So you know that when you work in consultancies or agencies, you constantly have to learn. So you usually have to wear different hats, and you usually have to become an expert very quickly. So that means that one week you can be working with a mobility company. The next week you're working in finance or in healthcare and so forth. That means you have to get over a curve really, really fast, and you have to get up to speed into industry specific terms, stuff you've never heard about before. And you usually have very limited time boxes to do that. So we usually start every project at PALO with a discovery or learning more about who we're designing for. And we do it in a lot of different ways. So we talk to users, we do user testing, but we also really like to bring in employees and really like to bring in, you know, companies, because at the end of the day, a lot of these expert stakeholders, they know the product and the industry better than anyone else. And they've been working in it for a lot of years. So we always bring them in really early on in the process. So we decided to try out something new in the last project, and it worked out pretty well. So maybe you guys can also try it out. So for this specific project, we just wrapped it up a couple of weeks ago. It was a project for a bank, and it was a finance project. And we were creating an MVP where we needed to do a lot of, display a lot of data or a lot of information that we were really not familiar with. So that my other team member as well, we weren't really experts in finance, and there were a lot of terms that we didn't know very well. On top of that, the product was from a market that we were not familiar with. So even things like the currency, where the dots should go, where the commas should go for specific numbers, we were kind of lost. And we had a lot of questions. However, getting that back and forth with the emails was really slowing down the process. So what we did is we set up a clickable prototype, and instead of testing with end users, we invited in the clients and we invited in expert stakeholders to do a sort of user testing. So how did that work? It worked a little bit like a user testing session. So we assigned 2 roles. So we have one of the designers leading the conversation and kind of walking the client through the prototype and showing them how everything worked. And then we had the other designer kind of working behind the scenes and really doing the magic. So basically we would display the prototype, walk the client through it, and then leave these kind of blank spaces. And we would ask them when we arrived to a specific question mark, like, how should we display this? Or what do you think actually should go here? Or how should we talk about it? As they were walking us through it, the designer that was working behind the scenes quickly updated things. So in Figma, they updated on the go. So the client was able to validate them immediately as they were happening. And it worked really, really well. So it was a huge time saver. It went from a ton of emails to 1 session. And we actually ended up replicating it a couple of times just to make sure we were at the space in the project where we felt really happy with it. Naturally, that means a lot less back and forth. So that's always good. But one thing that we do recommend is that you try this out at later stages in the project, because you always have to control how much you want to let your expert users co-create with you. You should already have a pretty good idea of what you're building, and just be at the stages where you're refining your results. Cool. So that was our 5 tips. Some closing thoughts about this, and jump in, Jeline, if you also wanna say something here. We selected these, but we want to make clear that these are not the industry best practices. However, they're what has worked very well for us. So like Jeline mentioned, some of these, we're currently putting them in practice. A lot of these, all of these we've tried out, and some of them have worked really, really well. So at the end of the day, just test them out, find out what works best for your team, because every team is different. And we also created a little resource for you. So we created a sample cover page that we're gonna drop in the chat right now, where you can see how we organize the different file names with the emojis, and also a sample cover page that you guys can start using. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Really helpful tips. I really liked, especially the last bit about co-creating with your stakeholders and trying to get the right amount of fidelity in. Super helpful, super helpful. Okay, before we go to the next talk, I would like to just introduce a small toilet break for everyone. So it's gonna be 5 minutes, so we'll start again at 7:48. And in the meantime, well, some people might want to go for a toilet break. I would like to invite everyone back to the Hangout file and really gather together in the photo zone. So we can start gathering all together there, and hopefully we can take some great group photos along the way. So I'm only in link 1, but I do hope people will go to the other links as well if they're in the other links. And yeah, please gather together and we'll take great photos together. Okay.
Baby, I like you. You could even ask my friends. Love is overrated. Maybe we could just be friends. Come right over, baby. I'll cut off all my loose ends. All these hoes don't face me. Maybe we could play pretend. I like you don't hate me. After everything I said, I like you don't hate me. After everything I said, here alone. I'm falling out of love. Yeah, I'm sitting here alone. Falling out of love. Yeah, baby, just come home. 'Cause you the one I want. Baby, I like you. You could even ask my friends. Love is overrated. Maybe we could just be friends. Come right over, baby. I'll cut off all my loose ends. All these hoes don't face me. Maybe we could play pretend. I like you don't hate me. After everything I said, I like you don't hate me. After everything I said, there's a couple different reasons why I'm scared to call back. It's a mixture of this liquor while you wearing all black. It's some makeup on your tissues from your issues, all that. Miss me with all that, just miss me with all that. Fuck me right, ay, do me wrong, yeah. Us just sing the same old song, yeah, same old song. Oh yeah, fuck me right, ay, do me wrong, yeah. Us just sing the same old song, hey, same old song. Oh yeah, baby, I like you. You could even ask my friends. Love is overrated. Maybe we could just be friends. Come right over, baby. I'll cut off all my loose ends. All these hoes don't face me. Maybe we could play pretend.
I said the liquor, but it's much too harsh. Chase me down, make it stop. I know she said that she fought with her old soul. Unfortunate, cause I sold mine to the devil for this mojo. She think it's just so cold, but she made my breath stop like she's a centerfold. Well, I've been searching for something sweet that's cool in the summer to take away the sea. Nah, vanilla cold, she much too bland. The lime try too hard, chasing all the other men. Well, I'm just searching for classic and timeless. Oh hey there, I think I found it. She my cherry cola, she gon' keep me sober. Let me keep her closer, bubbly like a soda. Sweeter than the champagne, smoother than the Coltrane. Keep me from the Chardonnay, I'm just sipping one thing. She my cherry cola, she gon' keep me sober. Let me keep you closer, bubbly like a soda. Sweeter than the champagne, smoother than the Coltrane. Keep me from the Chardonnay, I'm just sipping one thing. deep in this fountain, pull me to the surface the way I deserve this. We like that sugar cane, I'm so glad that you came. No clouds in my sky, she bring that sunshine. Hold me down, hold me down, hold me down. Don't let me drown, don't let me drown. She my cherry coke.
Okay, let's continue. So for our next talk, we have Tina. Tina, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. So Tina will talk about how to get started with remote research. Go ahead, Tina.
Okay. First of all, can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So, hi everyone, I'm Tina from Viki, Rakuten Viki. And first of all, I would like to thank you, Shan and the Figma Meetup for inviting me to share my learnings through remote research in Viki. So first of all, I would like to introduce what is Viki doing. So Viki is a world leading platform for Asian and entertainment culture. So it's very specifically to the Korean shows, dramas. And then the differences between us, Disney Plus and Netflix is that we have more than 200 languages been translated to our very passionate fans. And then we provide in a lot of platforms, mobiles, tablet, desktop, and then OTV, Chromecast, etc. So as you can see, the circle size actually is like how many users are in around the world in Viki. So as you can see now, a Viki product engineer team is in Singapore. But most our target users are in US, Latin America, and Europe. So for our team, we are doing remote research nearly all the time, even before COVID-19 situations. Yeah. So this is why today I'm sharing the learnings here. So before I start, I would like to have a quick poll. I want to understand how many people have done remote research before. You can send yes in the chat. Maybe Zoe can help me take a look. So I can understand how many people have the experience before. Hello?
Let's just say a lot.
A lot? Okay. Awesome.
Do you want me to count?
I don't need to count. Just give me the
quarter right now.
A quarter. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Okay, sounds good. I think okay, I will just present. Most of them have done remote research before. Okay, cool. So yeah, today I would like to share my learnings here. So first of all, I would like to give the pros and cons for remote research here. And for pros, it's of course, remote research is a cost-saving thing. Company don't need to send you to the actual locations, and then and no hotel costs, no flight costs. So this is really benefit for the company. And second is you have more diverse pools of participants. Any people around the world, if they have the technical, the online communication tools, you can always reach them. And third one is very convenient for participants. They can choose any location they want. But the downside of this is that you are definitely facing the technical problems here, such you have problems with screen sharing if you want to see how users interact to your products, and also the video call. And the next one I would like to talk about is a security risk. So here is because users will be sharing their screen, so here you might be aware of privacy. And the third one is when you're doing remote testing to users, some of the scenarios is actually different when users are using your product in the real life. So you kind of cannot test in the real cases. Yeah, so today's topic, I will be covering 5 topics. So let's go through it. First is type of research. So there are 3 types of research that we do for remote research. So first is testing the future concept, which is the prototype that all designers will do. And next one is you want to get feedback from an existing feature. And third one, you'll be looking for opportunity to create a new feature or business model. And for technology side, there are several online tools provide very good analytics. So for unmoderated, we suggest Maze, Usability Hub, User Zoom, and Lookback. So these third-party tools provide a lot of like success rate, drop-off rate, and error state when they are interact to your prototype. So it's quite nice. And for the moderated session, you can use Zoom, either Google Hangout, like any online meeting tools. That also works. Then now it's how do you make your plan? So there are several things you needed to include your plan to help you understand better why you are doing this. So first is what's the goal of your project? So before you do research, definitely there's a problem statements, like things you want to solve. So this will lead to what things you wanted to find out through the research. And then in the following, is what type of user you're looking for. So there is a problem and the things you want to find out and the people. So make sure you have data to support these so you have very clear idea about what you're doing when others are asking. And the third one is interview questions, tasks, and scripts. So be prepared like all these things and then practice with your colleagues and friends before the interview. So this is just to make sure the flow is smooth. And the last point is super important for remote research, which is the time management. And this is very, very different from in-person interview. You have to make sure that each topic you are going to discuss with the user is fixed in a very strict time frame, because sometimes you will yourself will also lose the track of time. So this is something you have to be aware of. How to recruit users. So for this part, actually, for me personally, I met a lot of obstacles. So here is like, as you can see, recruitment method in Viki. We usually will have email, push notification, or using product feature and third-party services. And for here is just a benchmark for Viki. Let you know that email gives higher quality users. Here is stating that user really show up in the end. Although the push notification have better response rate. So why I mentioned this part is the most frustrating for me, because when I first do the remote research in Viki, I end up a lot of user canceled. They keep postponing the time, and the more worse is they never reply me. So it means that in the end, I keep sending out a lot of badges to recruit users, and it took a lot of time. So I've been through this process going crazy, and this is the worst because there's one time I spent a week recruiting and then no one showing up. So it's a bit heartbreaking. So I trying to optimize my process, and then I started to realize actually if I iterate some steps, it will help me become and very happy like this pig. Yeah, first, recruit more than you need. So remote research no-show rate is higher than in-person research because user might forget that they need to join an interview, or they just randomly sign up when they see your campaign or your message, not really take it seriously. So tips in Viki here is recruit more than your target number. So if you want 3, then make it 9. So why I suggest at least 3x more than you need, later I'll explain. Second is send out to small batch first. So because some of the users, when you can't know like how passionate are they to our product. So you might keep it slowly, send to small batch, and then check the response rate first before you increase the numbers. Otherwise, you'll be end up like this guy, having overwhelming message. You know, if you get 50 responses and everyone sending back in words, it's going to kill you. Yeah. And the next one is people have trust issues. So recruitment message should look legit and explain the reason and purpose of the interview. Because this will highly impact on your response rate. So for here, I would suggest, since previous, I suggest like sending a small batch of users. In this time, you can slightly iterate every time to see how will it improve. Yeah. So the reason why I have to be careful is right now all users are receiving push notification as an ads from a company, and then there is other fraud around the world that they want to hook user onto their platform. So users are very very scared about this kind of stuff. And the last one is incentives. You can think incentive is like a thank you thing to tell user that, hey, our company, thank you for your time to join our studies. But here, there's a side note, better choose the incentive wisely, because sometimes you didn't state very strict on your target audience. You stated very loosely, and in the end, you might end up getting a wrong type of users because they are here probably just wanted to get your stuff. Okay, so here I would like to share my personal framework that I did in Viki. So it helps me improve a lot of my recruitment process. So this is my framework. Actually, I will have around 3 stages. Recruitment message, select user, and send a confirmation, and then send the video call. So first of all, this is the first message that user will receive before the next step. So I will say, who am I, which company I come from, and what is the purpose of the research, how long it's gonna take, and if everything sounds interesting, please sign up the link. And the end of the session, they will give incentive. So the interesting here is like when we put first come first serve, we realize that this wording attract more response rate. So that's why afterwards we keep putting this in our message. And of course you need to put like thank you message, where you come from, like where's the company address, like showing your company logo. So make sure that you're a legit person. And you can see there is a OBA message on the button. So this is also some of the findings that I have. For some type of users, if I show some OBA's gestures, and then the sign-up rate is even higher than I thought. So this is just some interesting findings. So in the sign-up form, what you should put, so here are the 3 main areas. First of all is country and the US, which US states that user is. Because our users are all from Europe, US, and Latin America, so we definitely need to know where they come from. So we can match our time to their time. And second is we will provide the time slot. And for this time, we usually will provide a time slot that more comfortable to the users. Yeah, and then afterwards, after they select, we will try to match our time zones. And third one is user criteria. So this one is to make sure that there are some information that you cannot collect on your platform. It's mainly based on users' past experience, and this is a good timing. You can state out your key criteria. So double check user's profile. So this could also make sure that whether this is the user that you want. So here, for example, as I mentioned earlier, our sign up rate through email and push notification is very low. So for example, you get the around 5 to 6% of users for your first round recruitment message. And for the next stage is this. So a lot of people sign it up through a form. So now is the time for you to carefully select the user that you want. And here is the reason why I mentioned like earlier, select at least 3 times. So if you want 6, you select 18. So the reason is the drop rate will happen later again. So for the confirmation message, this is super important because confirmation message helps me filter out the users who is just sign up impulsively or is just like very irrational signing up, or like they're here just for the money or some gifts, etc. So this message actually helped me filter out a lot of low quality users. And as you can see here, also you have to state out your name, company, purpose of the research. And of course here, since some of the users don't speak English, so when we select, we will put this sentence here to make sure that, hey, we are going to conduct English conversation. So make sure that they are comfortable with it. Yeah, and then later is user's time and which country and state. So make sure that they don't confuse. Yeah, and then later this one is to ask them to respond to my emails and the message. And then afterwards, I realized once I've sent out, only around 30 to 35% of users really reply me that they are really interested to join. So that's why previously I mentioned like try to recruit 3 times more than your target number. So the last one is send out video call link. So here you can say that thank you for a reply, and we'll be using what app or services to conduct interview. So user can prepare beforehand because they need to also set up the technical part on their site. And of course, the most important thing is indeed to let them know what device you're gonna use, because sometimes you're using mobile to test the app, sometimes it's desktop, so it depends on the needs. And of course, you have to recap what is the purpose of the research and tell them that, hey, you'll get this incentive after the interview. And then please note this down, like if they want to cancel, they have to tell you beforehand. Because our interview time is always very crazy, not the normal time. So we wanted to state this out, like to tell user like, hey, if you want to cancel, better let us know. So here is my personal collect data. As you can see that around 80% users will show up. So this data is just based on my experience in Viki. Every time when I recruit, how many people sign up. You can take it as a benchmark. And just also a side note here. So sometimes you will want to send out the reminder message, because like when you send out the video call link, if your interview time is happening after a week, you better send out the reminder message to tell them that, hey, this is, please join our interview on blah, blah, blah day and time. Yeah, and with this framework, actually this is exactly my emotional feelings when users show up. I was very excited and very happy when user really show up through the interview. Okay, another topic is the preparation. Since we now have the users who are very committed to join, and then now you need to do some preparation. First of all is conduct a pilot test with the colleagues to make sure your interview is smooth. But so for this session is more focusing on technology and mechanism through the interview. And if you found something wrong, you can also adjust in this stage. And this part is, I call it unknown technical challenge. Prepare for failure, meaning that you have no control through users' environment. So you don't know what device they will be using, what internet environment they will have. This will all know until you call in and enter the call, you will know. So something is uncontrolled. But for your side, at least you can be prepared. Put yourself in a good environment and in a quiet in the quiet area. To avoid the unknown technical challenge, we usually will prepare a backup plan for users. So in case like interview been interrupted. So we do have one examples that we were preparing for the moderated usability test. And when we call in and we can't even hear what user said, and the video keeps stucking all the time, and really affect our interview and also affect our feelings to users, and user also have bad image through Viki. So we try to end up the call very fast, and then afterward we send out a prototype link and some instruction text to user to have some follow-ups. And lastly is consent form. So you wanted to, usually when we do remote user testing, you will always have audio and video recording. Make sure you get users consent before you're doing that. And second is to protect your company assets. So why we need to do that? Because this is to ensure users who are concerned about privacy. And second is to protect company assets, because we are designers, we are also company assets. Our prototype also belongs to company. So this is to avoid user leak out some confidential information to third party. And the tool we are suggesting here is DocuSign and Adobe Sign. These tool allows you to send NDA consent form before the interview starts. And also you can track whether they opened, received, or signed. So it's very nice and useful tool. Tips during interview. So first of all, make sure you are looking at your video camera, because in-person interview and remote interview is very different. And user can easily spot that you are not looking at them. So how I usually do is like, I will break down my screen to two windows. One is user's window, another is my interviewing script. So when I'm looking my script, user will feel I'm looking at them. Yeah. The second part is start with easy question to establish a bond. So here is also another challenge. So different from in-person interview is that it's really hard to bond a relationship with the users from a far distance, because they can only see you in the video. So it's very different from in person. They aren't sure that you're legit. So just to be careful, can spend more time talking about like users, like how's their day, or like what is interesting, you know, some like friends talking, chit chat thing at the beginning. And third, sometimes you will meet users that keep complaining all over the place if they are very angry to your product. And also like there are some users that are very happy with your product. So these is very two extreme cases. Let them finish talking before guiding them back to your topic, because they are very emotional. The reason they join your interview probably is just wanted to share how they hate your product or how they love your product. And last is show empathy by mirroring what the user said. So how you can do is you can try to repeat the last 3 words that what user said. So they will feel like, oh, actually you are listening to me very carefully. And these like, I know how you feel feeling will come out on user's side. So they are more open to talk more and let their guard down. And after interviewed, of course, it's very important to get users' feedback and your colleagues' feedback. So on user feedback, like you can ask them that during entire interview sessions, like, is there any confusion part for you? So you can adjust and reprioritize probably your task or your interview questions. And for colleagues feedback, so sometimes you will have a note taker, observations, or moderator inside the interview with you, and trying to talk with them, like, do they observe anything went wrong? Like, you can change it after. Yeah, so these are the 5 topics I covered today. And yeah, thank you so much, and see you later in Q&A sessions.
Thank you so much, Tina. I hope with these tips, everyone will have a smooth user research, remote user research. Okay, now on to the next topic. We have Pam talking about global and local mentorship. Go ahead, Pam.
Yeah, okay. Thanks, Jen and Tina. So hi, everyone. I'm Pam, and I'll be taking this segment regarding mentorship. So today, actually, I'm going to leave most of the talking to our guest of the evening, who is Felix, and he's going to be talking about the Amazing Design People List. And that is an initiative that was started to help amazing people like you get either jobs or opportunities. I'm going to let Felix take it from here.
All right, thanks, Pam. Hi, everyone. How are you guys doing today? Thank you all for sitting through the call. I know it's been a past couple of 2 hours, I guess, and it's been amazing, hearing everyone talk. So, before I start, I really just want to shout out to the Figma team that has done an amazing job hosting this, this entire meetup today, because I was so impressed, honestly, with the entire, that pre-event kind of, that entire setup basically, right? So that was really amazing. So good job to you guys. Yeah, so let me just click into my slides, and I'm going to share with you some good stuff today. All right, just give me a sec. Okay. So my name is Felix, and I'm a product designer based in Singapore. So I'm currently freelancing as a design lead at GoTrade, a YC startup that is based in Singapore. So what we do is that we allow Southeast Asians to actually invest in US stocks and fractional stocks as well. So you can invest on Facebook, like Google stocks at a fraction. So everything starts from $1, and we are not launched yet. So public beta will be out really soon. So today, the purpose of this talk is to really talk about a community, right, that supports and inspires hope together. The past couple of months has been really crazy for everyone worldwide, be it you're in Singapore or whether you're in US or Canada, India. It has been really a crazy time for all of us, but the thing is that throughout times like that, we tend to turn to people that we trust most to find hope, right? And I always live by this quote that alone is hard, together is better, right? And especially in times like that, when people are getting laid off and people are losing their jobs, and there's just a lot of things going on, people go to hospital and stuff like that. You want to be a part of a community that supports and can inspire hope together, right? And what more, what is better than doing it together with a community that understands design, right? That is passionate about design, just like we all do. So that is really what the Amazing Design People is all about. It is a design community that wants to support and inspires hope together with all the designers collectively. So what is the ADPList.org? ADPList is short form for the Amazing Design People List. So it is a community-led talent-based surfacing designers looking for jobs during COVID-19, and also connecting designers with mentors worldwide. So if you're a designer looking for a job, you can actually go up there, put your name, so that recruiters can actually reach out to you. That's one. The second one is that if you're actually looking for a one-time portfolio review, or you're just looking for any design career advice, you can go up there and connect with amazing mentors, which are from many different, one of the biggest companies in the world. So I will talk more about the mentorship segment later in a bit. So this is what, at ADPList, this is what we believe, that together we can inspire meaningful design conversations in the community, right? One of our greatest goals is to build a community for designers by designers, because all of us are designers here, and we want to build a community where we can all belong, be ourselves, and speak openly, ask questions openly, and be curious openly as well. So that is the ultimate goal of this community. So how did ADPList community get started? So it started when, just about a month and a half back, I was in my room and I thought, hey, people are getting laid off. So what if we could just create an Excel sheet, put all the names up there so that recruiters can, refer to this Excel sheet and just reach out to some designers. So I started that 1.5 months back, and, with the mindset that we wanted to grow the community together. So back then I was alone. And just over that week, it got, about 100 designers on the list. And there was a lot of support around the Excel sheet. So James, a friend from Ghana, which is a part of West Africa, he actually reached out to say, hey, Felix, do you want to build a website together? Because, the Excel sheet doesn't really work for designers, right? If they're going to find something, really nice to use, or even recruiters. So this is, and over the weekend, we actually sort of did like a hackathon kind of thing. And we actually built a website over that weekend. So we launched on Monday itself. And this is the first iteration of their website. So if you go there and see right now, some things might have changed, the numbers, some copywriting and stuff like that. Yeah. So how are we doing this together, right? How can you be a part of this community, and how can we support one another throughout these times and even beyond COVID-19? So this is how it looks like. If you actually put your name up there on the talent base, so we will feature your name, your previous company, your previous role, where you're based at, as well as your email that recruiters could reach out to, and as well as your portfolio or your LinkedIn. So we even actually tell the recruiters that, hey, whether you are looking for freelance or you're looking for full-time right now. So for designers that are looking for jobs right now in COVID-19, you can add yourself to the talent base. It's at www.adplist.org. So today, I really want to talk a lot about mentorship, right? Because mentors are heroes, and they're the one who inspire all of us to be greater. And I'm pretty sure, at a certain point of our time in our lives, we have met someone or some mentors in our life that has really taught us some lessons that has made us better people and made us better designers, right? So these are some of the faces that you might find familiar from ADPList. So there are over 140 amazing mentors from over 20 countries, and just today it's actually 200 mentors. So I should have updated that, and 200 over amazing mentors from all around 20 countries come together, unite to support and inspire global design communities. And these mentors come from big names like Facebook, InVision, Figma, Salesforce, Google, and all these are, they're just not, they are not just from junior roles. We have even mentors that are from the director of design at Airbnb, Uber, they are coming together to do this, right? So that's really, really amazing. So what should you prepare before reaching out? Because, based on the past couple of weeks and the past month, we have been trying to study the interaction between a designer and a mentor to understand really what makes a mentoring session effective, before even stepping on a call or an email. So the first thing that you want to do before you reach out to them is to actually tell the mentor about your current or your past experience, right? So what are you doing? What is your past experience? How do you get into design and stuff like that? And next would be, what kind of mentorship are you actually seeking, right? So are you seeking for a portfolio review, or are you looking for a career guidance, right? Or maybe are you looking for like interview techniques or leadership advice? So all these are very different themes, whereby you can email the mentor, or if you're on Calendly, you can send them a note on Calendly to tell them all these things, right? And next would be, what is the primary goal that you want to achieve with the mentorship? So there are some designers that reach out to me and say, hey, Felix, I just want to chat, about design in general. Or there are some people that says, hey, I want to build a better portfolio, and by the end of the mentorship, I want to be able to, have a portfolio that is presentable, right? So by telling your mentors the primary goal that you want to achieve through mentorship, actually gives them a lot of context and could help them prepare for the session that they're going to call you on. So for those that are scheduling with the mentors through Calendly on ADPList, what you can do is that this is a screenshot of a Calendly, right? So once you schedule a time and a date, you can actually fill up. There's a very mini form there that says, please share anything that will help prepare for our meeting. So for there, you can actually answer these questions, and remember to also put in your portfolio link as well, so that the mentors can actually access your portfolio link, right? So answer this question and put in your portfolio link. And those are some of the very, very essential things that could help the mentor prepare for that. So some of the things, to take note, sort of like community guidelines, but I would say more of like what makes mentorship effective is the number one thing is to stay with one mentor. So because it's sort of like, doctor hopping kind of thing. So don't mentor hop, don't go around going to 5 different mentors or 3 different mentors. Stick with one mentor, because that will give you very clear and consistent feedback when the same mentor are actually looking through your work and are able to see your improvements, right? So if you go to multiple mentors, no one is going to know where you started. No one is going to know what you improve on. So stick with one mentor, be dedicated to one, and keep communicating. Next thing is work on feedback given. So every single time, you hop on a call with your mentor, or even an email, do hit back, after, head back home, head back to your work, and work on the feedback before you return for another round of session. Because that is what is going to help, right? Because if you're going to show the same thing again, just with different questions, it is not really going to help you improve in any ways. So lastly, for people who are here, if you're wondering, okay, I'm not looking for a job, I'm not looking for necessarily a mentorship, I'm looking to help someone. And the most powerful thing that recently that all of us have learned, some of us learn it, in a much more meaningful and deeper way, is that the truth of life is that we are all, we are what we give, not what we have, right? And for some of you here that might want to reach out to a fellow designer, not just in Singapore, but around the world, and you want to be a mentor to help with portfolio review or career advice, you can be a mentor on ADPList. So do go to adplist.org/mentors, and there you'll actually be linked to a form that you could put in your details to tell us, hey, why do you want to be a mentor? And then just put in some basic information like your LinkedIn, your portfolio, right? So all this basic information will actually help us vet through our mentors. So there is actually a vetting process that takes 2 to 3 days, so that we actually put up the most quality mentors that are actually committed to help designers worldwide. And lastly, there's actually fortnightly community coffee hours. So we just hosted our coffee hours just this Wednesday. Yeah, just this Wednesday. So that's super exciting. We did it with the head of design evangelist at Vision. So his name is Stephen Gates, and he's also the host of the Crazy One podcast. And on a personal note, he's an advisor to ADPList as well. So we chose to invite him because he has tons of experience interacting with a lot of designers. And following, every fortnightly, there will be different mentors coming in from all around the world, giving very different perspective that could help you in your portfolio or could help you, in any ways that you want, right? So to sort of keep yourself updated to the coffee hours, do follow us on LinkedIn at adplist.org. So the name is just adplist.org, right? Just key into your LinkedIn and you can find us. So once you find us, do follow us and keep yourself updated for the next coffee hours, where you can literally ask any questions, like literally any questions, right? Design related, leadership, or anything like that. So with that being said, thank you so much, Figma Singapore, for having me here as a special guest. And I do hope that, all of us can help to support one another in times like that, especially, it's really crazy. And that if we can just help, bring a little light to the community, I think, it will go a long way, be it COVID-19 or post-COVID-19. So thank you all very much.
Okay, thanks, Felix. So if you'd like to sign up to be a mentor or look through any of the resources he's just mentioned, Zoe and Tian have blasted out a bunch of links. So the next thing is, while everybody's winding down, we are almost towards the end of our session. I'm going to just go ahead and share my screen quickly. So on the third page under resources, we've gathered some very quick resources. And over here, this section under the independent mentor zone, just going to zoom in on this a bit. We actually have some people who contacted us directly to say that they want to help out. And we've just indicated their contact details, their LinkedIn profiles, and what they're interested in mentoring with. The other thing is we've also got some global resources here. We've done a bit of pre-vetting because unfortunately there aren't a ton of resources at the moment. But this is stuff that we have. And if there's anything else that you feel should be added to this list, feel free to give me a ping. We've also got one section on design roles. So we've got remote roles and Halo designers, which is both a mix of remote and full-time roles. Yeah, so ultimately, we know that this is a really uncertain time for everyone, and we like to do what we can as a community to help out. So we want to learn more about how we as a team can help out. So if you're someone looking for any kind of help or someone who has any ideas on how you think you can help the community, feel free to give me or any of the Figma members a ping. You'll find my little Pambot around everywhere. So send me an email. So with that email, or you can just add me a LinkedIn as well, that's fine. So in your message to me, please include your name, your contact, your email or your LinkedIn page. I don't need your number or anything like that. And just let me know what you want to help with, whether that is if you're interested in giving us resources, or if you're interested, if you have any ideas or anything that you'd like to know. So I think that's it. So with that, I'm going to hand this back to Shen to start the Q&A session.
Okay, thank you, Pam. Thanks, Felix. I think these are very encouraging words for our community. And I really hope that with this, we can really help each other through the situation. Okay, let's move on to our Q&A. So I already took a sneak peek and saw a lot of great questions. Okay. So, okay, to everyone, as there are always new UXers, say for example, General Assembly graduates joining the UX industry, what's the one piece of advice you would like to give to them, especially during this pandemic period? Okay, Sergey, do you want to go first on answering this?
Yeah, so in fact, of course, I'm not the best specialist in UX specifically because, you know, my strong part is communication and so on and so forth. But I think right now, especially during all this thing, we see how became how important became, you know, that. So basically, what I want to say is that right now we spend even more time inside the digital products. So because before, yeah, we can do something in our services that we use or so on and so forth, but we also spend like a lot of time on the other side, on offline side. But right now, during especially all this COVID thing, I think you can even feel how it depends on different products. Because for example, when you started to use Zoom on daily basis for, I don't know, for almost 8 times in a row, you can see a lot of, you know, some mistakes or problems that you want to tweak because you spend, for example, in Zoom, you spend like 4 or 5 clicks to just join in someone. So it's crazy. And I think that you as a user experience specialist right now should think that everything that you do, like in terms of, you know, analytics and so on and so forth, it's not only, you know, kind of projects, but this is a real area. This is a real place where people spend like a lot of their times, especially right now, like inside services as Figma or Zoom, you spend like a lot of time. So basically right now we spent almost 3.5 hours sitting here, and all this experience was created by some UX specialists in Zoom team. And I think this is a good point to think on this scale, like about your like profession, because sometimes junior specialists think specifically in some, you know, some small parts, like, okay, I will make like this page or like that form or something like this. But when you're thinking in a big scale, like when you're creating a real world for people where they spend a lot of time, then you start to think differently. So yeah, I think you should go and think like much higher, I mean, in terms of the scale. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Sergey. From Palo IT, who wants to answer this question?
I can take that. So my biggest advice would be not just for UX designers, but for any designer to get involved with the community, whether it's looking for mentorship on things like the ADPList or just reaching out on LinkedIn, talk to people, attend events, and just try to network, because there's always people that are looking for mentorship opportunities, but people that are always looking for job opportunities. And it's just about, you know, getting to know everyone. Do you want to add something, Jeline?
I totally agree. I think during this period, there's a lot of remote sharing session like this, and it's good that because now we are at the comfort of our own home, you just keep joining and then learn more things from people.
Okay, thanks. Tina, do you have any encouraging words?
Encouraging words. I think connect to design community. It'll be the best way to enhance your visions, and then talk to more people and understand how their workflow. It's really, really helpful for yourself if you just enter the UX industry.
Yeah, and I guess like this is definitely where Felix comes in, right, with his ADPList. Do you have any like one quick piece of advice besides what you have shared already, Felix?
Yeah, I think, just be self-aware before you step into any jobs, because don't just go into a job just because you need one. Just make sure that you understand that you're passionate about what you're doing. Yeah, I think self-awareness is number one.
Okay, thanks, Felix. Felix, another one. What's a good advice to give for how to be a good mentor?
Yeah, okay. So I will start this off by shouting out to some of the mentors that are already here, like Adela, like Maneka, that I see you guys here. So they are some of the mentors on ADPList in Singapore. So they probably know this better than I am. But yeah, I'm also one of the mentors. So there are a lot of advice surrounding on how to be a good mentor. We actually have a private Slack workspace just for mentors only. So we do interact there, and we share advice and share resources. And one of the things that I see to be a good mentor is that good mentors always follow up to be on a second session, right? So we don't just do one time, like, okay, 30 minutes and you're off, right? We don't do just a one-time thing. And if that designer ever needs more advice, we would always say, hey, if you ever need more advice, do come back for round 2, round 3, right? So we are always there. So I think a good mentor is always there to listen, to help you improve. Some of them, of course, are very straightforward and things like that. That of course, is given a more westernized kind of culture. And but the fact is that be it interacting with different cultures, some of the advice that they give are really straightforward, and they are really, really good. So be open-minded. Both mentors and mentees should be really open-minded on each other comments. So I think that's one of those. And the last part to be a good mentor, I think, is just being present, right? It's just showing up to say that, hey, I'm a mentor today, and if you have anything, just reach out to me. Whether it be to the mentors that you've done with before, or people that you have not actually speak to before, right? So just be there, present. So if you guys might have seen some LinkedIn posts that some people are actually posting on, say that, hey, I'm a mentor on ADPList, and I think that those are amazing sort of like self-initiated posts, because they're actually telling people that, hey, no matter whether I'm on ADPList or not, I'm here for you, right? So it's to give people that idea of hope. Yeah.
Okay, thanks so much, Felix. Yes, that's really sound advice, and really make sure that you're available for all your mentees. Okay, next question is for Sergey. What would you say are the key differences between a remote and physical sprint?
Yeah, so in my case, it's a little bit kind of tricky question, because most of my time, so brand design team works most of our time with the marketing team, but marketing team is located in San Francisco. So in fact, we have 2 offices, one in Moscow and the second one in San Francisco. So for me, especially, almost nothing changed. So I worked remotely like for a long time with the guys, and I still work remotely. So that's absolutely fine. If we are talking about product team, which is located like, yeah, I think most of them are located in Moscow. So at the beginning, I know that they have some kind of struggles, but I think everyone felt it in terms of the speed of communication, in terms of solving tasks in very quick way, when you can just while we're working offline, you just can go to someone and just ask like physically, but here you should make a meeting, make a call, and so on and so forth. So I think the biggest difference and the problem here is the speed of communication. But I think that this problem was relevant only for beginning, because right now everyone this is that I see everyone have changed and tweaked their processes, and right now for some parts of the product teams it becomes even faster to work remotely. So I think it's very for each company and each teams it's different, I'm sure, but in our case right now it was a problem at the beginning, but right now I think it's even became much faster to work remotely with remote sprints.
Okay, thanks. Okay, one for PALO IT. Adela, firstly, welcome to Singapore. Just want to ask how you find the UX maturity of Germany and Singapore. If there is one thing you can do to improve the UX maturity in Singapore, what would it be?
Right, so thank you. I'm very happy to be here. I definitely see a difference in both markets, and like in every country or in every market, there's pros and cons, right? On one hand, I'm impressed by the level of technical expertise that I've seen in Singapore. I don't know if it's only my team or if it's in general, but there's a really great understanding of like what UX is. The one thing that I do feel that is a little bit different from Germany and Europe in general is that I feel that back home, people are talking a little bit more about not only UX, but also about service design and a little bit more about strategy and business, which I think is a natural next step of where design is taking us. And I think we're doing a lot of these things already, because like I mentioned, I'm really impressed, like the level of talent that you find in Singapore, the level of projects that you can find here are like really impressive. I think we're slowly going to get a bigger seat at the table by just talking a little bit more about what are the business models and what are the systems that we're designing for. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, great. One for Tina. Do you have any tips on how to do a user research, user testing with users where there are potentially might be communication barriers?
For tips, I will suggest like, for instance, if your users speak Portuguese, you can better ask your colleagues in the entire company that anyone can speak Portuguese, and then invite that colleague to join your interview and spend some time to train that person into a facilitator. So this is previously what we did before. So I think it's quite helpful for this part. It's just like you need to spend some time because your colleagues might not know how to interview with people. So in this case, during the interview, user might ask some questions out of your perspective. You can try to send your colleague questions and then let them quickly know that what you want to ask. So they will quickly translate it into the language. Yeah. Hope it's
okay,
solved.
Yeah. Just a quick follow-up, like how do you send that message then? Like that your colleague is doing the interview. How would your colleague be able to see or get your message? Like how are you dealing with that?
Oh, so I think I forgot to add on X. Actually, we will invite two people. So one one colleague is going to direct translate to what everything user said. So one colleague will sit beside me. We will be the observation only. And the facilitator will be another colleague that you will do the talking part. Yeah, and then we usually use Slack, and then sometimes we will use Slack or like personal communication tools to quickly give him like, hey, I wanted to know these, can you help me ask him? Yeah.
Okay, yeah, great tip. Okay, so one question to all of our speakers. Is any team practicing incremental design to slice up user stories? Is anyone doing this? No.
You can point at someone. They'll talk.
Okay. Adela.
Me?
Yeah.
I would need more information on what you mean by practicing incremental design to slice up user stories. I would like to ask the person who asked this. What do they mean? We definitely work with user stories. I'm not sure what you mean by incrementally slicing them up. Maybe somebody from the other teams has a better idea.
Does anyone
Sergey?
from the audience, does anyone want to kind of add a little bit more context to this? Otherwise, I think I'm gonna like try and interpret it in my own way. You can send like a message to chat and then we'll be able to unmute you. Give you 5 seconds. Yeah, okay. So I think one way that I interpret this is that we always, like, we have this word that we throw around a lot, right? Like, let's build MVP, let's build MVP. And then every version of everything that you build is MVP. But of course, at the same time, you always kind of have that vision of where do you, like, where you want to go. So how do you merge like the two practice? Like the first one is like, you know, getting the first version of the design out. And the second one is like, how do you kind of merge that with the practice of like using user stories in product management in general? Does that sound like something that you would, like, you guys would be able to kind of answer? Like, how do you, or I think more general, how do we get from, you know, the MVP to the full design vision that we want?
Or vice versa.
Or vice versa.
I can add on. So for us, we typically we will build like a roadmap for our client. So we start off with what do you want to achieve for MVP, and then they kind of like brainstorm and shortlist maybe 10, let's say 10 functionality, and the rest of the 20 functionality or ideas will then kind of plot into roadmap for phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. And typically we put it on Jira, or let's say Trello, but mostly on Jira. And from there they track their progress. Yeah, I hope that helps.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. Okay, another question. Felix, where do you see ADPList growing into?
All right, thanks for the question. So this has been a question that that has been asked a couple of times. As of now, we are definitely a community-led initiative that is supported by Envision, and a couple of companies are coming out as well to support this entire community. And James and I, we do see that this of course would outlast COVID-19, because if we all know that the Maslow law of hierarchy, right, basically talks about belonging being one of the most important things that a human being would need. And if we look at the designer, we are all humans, and there's no difference in that, right? That be it COVID-19 or not, we all want a community that we can belong, a community that can support us, a community that can inspire us, right? And I think that to say that this is just only for COVID-19 is definitely like shortchanging the community in any sense. What I do believe is that ADPList, what we do see ADPList going into is truly a global community that could help support all designers from every single part of the world, and help them become better designers in the future through mentorships. And all this, really amplifies a lot of message about, how can we create more meaningful design conversations, right, and bring people together. We have been seeing a lot of friendships being formed just by connecting, designers to designers or designers to mentors. And all these people are connecting to one another through the topic of design. And we would love to see that happening more. And in the future, we do see collaboration taking place. For example, if you need like a fellow designer to give you advice, you become an ADPList, get a designer on board, get a fresh eyes to help you to collaborate on new things, right? So I think it's going to outlast COVID-19 for sure, and it's going to be a community that we can all come together and help one another.
Okay, thanks, Felix. Yeah, I also agree with you. Like, it should definitely outlast COVID, and I think we all really want to belong in a strong design community. So our next question for Sergey: how do you manage the different time zones in your team? Where are your team members from?
Yeah, so as I mentioned before, we have 2 offices, and yeah, of course, the time difference is about minus 10 hours. So basically, this approach, this virtual workforce approach, give us a chance to hire. I mean, like hire for the projects, not only people who lives in like Moscow region or in our time zone, but also we have some guys who lives in different cities, and for example, one of them starts work at 3 p.m. and he works till 11 p.m. Moscow time. But for San Francisco guys, it's absolutely fine, and they can cross with him like most of their working time. So basically, I'm trying to find people who can work in different time zones, and that's how we solve this problem in our brand design team. But for example, if we're talking about like product team guys, they just and me too, in fact, we can just just adapt our schedule to, for example, we start in some days we start to work later, but for example we have some evening calls, and that's absolutely fine to have this adjusted schedules in some days. So for us it works absolutely fine, but the virtual workforce thing works pretty well here too.
Okay, thanks for sharing, Sergey. Next question for Jeline. How do you ensure that everyone's following the agreed process? Is there one person who oversees this?
So typically we discuss among ourselves. We don't really assign like one person to oversee. So it kind of depends on whether like who you actually work with. So if you're working with someone who is really close, and normally we just go with like casual chat and say, hey, you forgot to name this layer, can you please do so? And yeah, so there's no like one person overseeing anything. Yeah, so it's a mutual understanding and agreement.
Okay.
And what about, so there is a question, there's a follow-up question from Steve. How do you maintain the momentum? So sometimes it's easy to initiate and execute when people are excited, but the excitement usually dwindles after a while.
I guess to maintain the momentum, one person have to maintain. So let's say if the other party is not doing the maintenance of your file, and maybe after a few times of reminder it just didn't work, then what you can do is do the maintenance by yourself, or just close one eyes and just do it. Yeah, I mean that happens for me lah. That's how I would do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Tina, what kind of incentives have been the most popular apart from cash?
Okay, this is very good questions. To be honest, for me, I'm still finding the popular incentive apart from cash, because right now also for us, cash is more attractive for users. But for Viki, we actually also provide a free subscription plan for users who never subscribe to our platform. But we realized that this incentive only attract to the users that doesn't have the plan. So so this is something I don't have the answer right now, but so far cash is still the best. And just a small tip for you, if you want really quick users response and feedback, usually you can increase the amount of the money. You'll get the users very, very quick. Yeah. So That's it.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, it's definitely challenges with picking a right incentive. So another question for Sergey. Have you optimized the process for designers to get feedback from developers and PMs in a cross-functional team? If so, what is your process?
So yeah, once again, I'm not the best question to answer this question, but as I know, for example, because like engineers sitting all their time with designers, and so right now not physically but virtually at the same time, they have like all-time communication. So they discuss every decision that they make, and it gives them a chance to make all the adjustments very quickly and get the feedback very quickly. But for example, if it's a question about something, you know, some big part of design system or something, we have different channels, I think, as most of you do, and we have different channels for different like communities, like developers community, design community, and so on and so forth. And for example, if some developer has a question, feedback, or any thoughts about some design solutions, they can just drop it into the Slack channel and design community will answer it. For example, sometimes this question can be relevant just for one designer because he owns some part of the product and just he led the answering. Or sometimes it's you know, it is a question about some big thing and like all the designers like can answer on it. So yeah, this is how it looks in our case.
Okay, thanks. I would like to ask Tina and maybe Jeline, Adela, if they have any kind of process to do this right now as well. Tina, would you like to answer this question maybe as well?
Oh, okay. So usually for Viki, our team's process is usually quite structured with developer and PMs. So usually when designers and PMs will kind of like explore the problems statements and then align on the problem statements that we want to go for. And then we will quickly came up with a very rough wireframes and then go through all the related stakeholders. And after we confirm, we will try to showcase to the developer with low fidelity markup because we want to get the sense of what can be done, what can not done in the certain time frame. And so after the first review, we will keep iterating, and afterwards we will move to the high fidelity markups, and then yeah, and then test it with the users, and afterwards we will go through the reviews with developers again to make sure that what is the V1 version that we are going to go out. And then afterwards we will go to more broader stakeholders because we want to guide alignment through the rollout. Yeah, so that's so far our process.
Okay, thanks. Adela, Jeline?
So at PALO, we work as joint teams. That means like developers and business, everybody is together from the beginning. So we work really, really closely with developers. And a way we're doing that right now is, for example, having them also join the Figma boards or having them also join discussions where we're defining stuff very early on in the process. Because we don't only hand over specs, but we try to involve them as early on as possible. Because it's really important for us to find whether things are feasible or not, even before we have something very, very well defined. Jeline, do you want to add something to that?
Yeah, so for now, remote working, we actually have more catch-up session with our developers and clients. So we cater kind of a session for design review only with just designers. And once, and then we actually get the developers to join in if they want to. So every daily we have this calendar that that we set at 10 a.m. And if they have any question, they can just join whenever they want. Yeah, so that's how we actually work with the cross-functional team like this remotely.
Okay. And Felix, how about you? Is there any kind of process for you where you are currently working at?
Yeah, so there are some processes that we have set up. So we do have like weekly sprints and also daily stand-ups just to ensure that the design team is working very closely with the tech team. And one of the greatest thing that you can do is to ensure the constant communication, whether you are building new features or whether you are making new iterations to the product. Because one of the problems that we faced in the very early stages was that every single time the design was being changed, the tech team wasn't aware, and they had went ahead to actually develop those. So I think that having very clear and consistent communication, for example, like weekly meetings of like what is being iterated, what is being changed, and involve the developers and the PMs in the process, that is something that is very, very crucial.
Yeah, okay, thanks. I hope, Hazel, you have learned a lot from all these different answers from these different people. Okay, I think this is our final question I'm gonna have for today. Hiring a UX designers, what is the one skill or trait that you can tell from a junior versus senior? Okay, Adela, can you answer this one first?
Yeah, so every designer is different, and everybody brings different skill sets, right? But sometimes something that we feel is important to look at when you are applying for a role that is a little bit more senior is the kind of ability to drive a lot of these design activities or client communications on your own. So if it's a matter of not only being able to show the beautiful wireframes or the products that are great, but it's a lot about how you speak about design and how you are able to formulate a strong design opinion, and you're able to kind of back up why you made certain decisions. That really makes a difference in how you speak about your projects, and it tells me how you're going to speak to clients about, projects or products that you've worked with.
Yeah, thanks, Adele. Any of the other speakers want to add on to that? Maybe Sergey?
So I'm not hiring the designers, but if you ask me, I would say that, ability to ask right questions is like the most important thing, because if you ask the right questions, then it leads all the process in the right direction. If you ask like wrong questions, then you miss sometimes. So I think knowing what you want to ask and why you are going to ask specifically this is kind of very, very important thing. And I think not only for UX designers, but for basically anyone, because it's just the basis of, analytics process, of developing process of, basically this is a basic and starting point of any project. So I think this is the very important thing.
Yeah, thanks. Tina, Felix, Jeline, do you have anything else that you think can be helpful for this?
For me, I would say I kind of agree what Sergey said, and just to add on his point, I think is how you see the problem and come to solutions. Usually, when it's junior, when they meet certain ideas or problems, they really will quickly jump to solutions, and with single solution only. And for senior, they tend to explore or validate the problems. Is it correct or not? Like make sure everything, the problem we are solving is correct. So they will spend most of the time on exploring and targeting the right problems instead of jumping to the solutions. Yeah, this is, I would say, the difference.
Yeah, and I think, I want to add on to Adela's point, which I think is really, really good, is that, she mentioned about, how a designer speaks about design and how did they come to a certain decision. And I think, just to add to that, is really about the intention behind, why they do certain things, right, in a research process. So, being a mentor at ADPList, I've been through a couple of portfolios, and I do see like very repetitive process for every different products, be it whether it's a new product or a product that is already, out in the market, they are still using the same process. And I think that a really senior designer or just a great designer in general would be able to sort of like identify, do I really need to follow a certain, fixed process, or do I need to ask a different question at each point of time when I'm designing? So I think a really senior designer or great designer would ask the right questions and have intention behind every single thing that they do, which is the most important thing.
Totally agree. I guess for senior designer, you will keep asking why, and you'll probably go straight to the client if there's something wrong or you want to ask for more details. Whereas probably a junior would more of okay, maybe let's come up with a solution and we see how it goes. Yeah.
Okay, I want to thank all the speakers today. I think it's been a great session. I've learned a lot. I've enjoyed the session. I hope everyone really enjoyed the session as well, as much as I have. Before I want to end the whole session, I just want to have one more note. Wait, let me share something else. Okay. So, please give us your feedback on how this session was. We would like to hear from you. If there's anything we can improve, please let us know. And one other thing is, please join us in the Slack channel, in an official Figma Slack channel. Zoe has sent out an invite link for you to join, and please find us in the Location Singapore channel there. Okay, I really hope everyone had a great time. And with this, I would like to end this session. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Please let us know what you think, because this is our first session. So I actually had a slide that says anything that could go wrong will go wrong. I think some things went wrong today, but most of the things actually worked. So we're very happy about it. Please let us know your feedback. We'll be, I think all of us are in the Slack channel. And also in the Slack group. So if you join us there and you have questions, you want to be our next speaker, hopefully by then we'll be able to actually serve you real food instead of emoji foods. Yeah, then reach out to us there, email us, and all that. I'm super happy that we're able to do this session today, and hope to see you guys soon. Bye.
Bye.
I think you can do the clap thing. Clap. Just a clap. Thank you. Thank you all speakers.
You guys, take care.
Thank
Stay
you.
safe.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 Do we wait? We sit here and wait until people leave.
Yeah.
Don't leave.
DJ.
Okay. Bye. Bye, everyone. Thank you. Thanks for staying so late. Bye.
DJ Man's back. Okay.
Hi, Xion. I see you. Hi, Lum. Okay, I think we can go.
Yes.
Yeah.
I need to eat now.
All right.
Okay.
Bye.
Have a good night, everyone. Bye.